Dilip Kumar, Part 15. I felt Amma's absence whenever I had time to spend in the house. More than any of us, it was Agaji who was missing her quiet presence and the care with which she kept his clothes in the wardrobe and placed his personal belongings in places he liked them to be. Sakina Appa, my eldest sister, could not measure up to his expectations in running the house, which led to frequent altercations between them. He did not approve of her high handedness on many occasions when she unceremoniously dismissed those from the lower strata of society, like the dhobi, the local baker, and some of the women who came to the house to sell lace and hand embroidered household linen. My mother had been very kind to them and she never let them go unfed or empty handed. I remember getting into an argument with Sakina Appa once when she spoke rudely to the barber who had come home to give me a nice haircut. The poor man always had a problem with my hair, which grew at jet speed, demanding fortnightly trimming. He was constantly crestfallen by my hair's refusal to be combed back and kept in place the way he wanted. He was at a loss to explain to his regular patrons that my hair was naturally tousled and was not styled by him that way. He got a fillip to his business when my films, especially Naya Daur, became super hit and the song Ude Jab Jab Julfe Teri topped the popularity charts. He had young men coming to him throughout the week asking for the Dilip Kumar haircut, which in reality was nothing but my unmanageably thick hair falling disobediently on my forehead. I had reason to think that the growth was in vengeance at all the humiliation my poor head had to endure when, as ordered by my grandmother, a barber had come home and shaved off all the hair to make me the ugly child in the school I attended in Peshawar. The barber came home one afternoon and I had instructed him to wait if I did not reach the house on time. He took the liberty of sitting in the drawing room, and my eldest sister took it as impudence on his part and gave him a dressing down, which was in progress when I made my entry. I apologized to him and I found him more bewildered than angry. Later, I took up the matter with Sakina Appa and we had an unpleasant spat. Much I wanted to, I could not spend quality time with Agaji. The robustness of his constitution was giving way to invasions of muscular pains, And more than anything else, I felt he had lost the zest for living after Amma's demise. He, however, seldom missed his weekly visits to the Crawford market. As the days passed, he needed help to get in and out of the car. Not that he could not walk or any such handicap. It was a persistent knee cramp that made him halt in his steps sometimes when he walked. The ramrod like uprightness of his walk, the broad shoulders, and the twinkle in his eyes when he smiled remained intact, and Naushad Mia, who became one of his close friends, never ceased to admire his good looks and his natural noble bearing. Naushad Mia was one of the few regular visitors he truly got along with, and what made the bonding easy for Agachi was Naushad Mia's ability to regale him with impromptu recitations of good, meaningful Urdu ghazals and poetry. When Agachi's visits to Crawford Market became rare due to his losing interest in the business, as most of his friends in the fruit trade had retired and handed over the management to their sons, I thought it was right that Nur Sahib, who was the eldest sibling, should run the show and keep the family's reputation in the market alive. Like me, Nasir too was in films. Neither he nor I had any time to devote to the business. It became a matter of concern for me as Chacha Umar too took ill and was no longer keen to keep the business going. Going from Bandra to Crawford Market did not take much time those days. It was a pleasure to drive to town when I had to meet anybody because the very roads that are now jam packed with vehicles used to stretch invitingly for the motorist to step on the accelerator and drive fearlessly over them. There was unlimited parking space near the market and outside the market's main entrance. I liked being at the wheel if I was not tired or thinking too much about my work. I used to drive to South Bombay and find myself a table that would not attract much notice and order food as the mood dictated at George's restaurant. All the waiters knew me from my college days at Wilson when I used to take the boys who were in my team there after every victorious soccer match we played against St. Xavier's. They knew I was an actor now, but that made little difference to the way in which they greeted me and attentively served the dishes I had ordered. I always tried not to make myself conspicuous wherever I went, but one afternoon, when I took Agaji there, a crowd gathered outside. The manager came to our table and told me that there were fans waiting to see me and talk to me. Agaji asked me what was going on and I told him about the fans. Surprisingly, he looked pleased and told me to go and meet them without delay. I was thrilled not because People who liked my work had come to meet me quite unexpectedly, but because I saw the glint of pride in Agaji's eyes that day. On our way back, he was as quiet as he always was. On reaching home, I heard him describe the whole episode to Chacha Umar with the excitement of a child and the joy of a proud father. Agaji did not meet any of the producers who came to see me at home. However, whenever Raj Kapoor came over, he was happy to see him and he made fond inquiries about Prithvi Ji. He knew Mehboob Sahib vaguely. He was content just knowing that his son may not have fulfilled his dream of securing an OBE as a suffix to his name, but he was certainly an achiever. At times, Chacha Umar used to come to me elatedly and whisper how Agaji had carefully folded a newspaper carrying my photograph and kept it near his bed after gazing at it for some time. Surprisingly, he never asked me why I had adopted a screen name. Being a man of the world and having abundant native wisdom, he must have understood the reasons. He was very happy that I was insisting that my younger sisters be educated at the best institutions. He never said so, but he lived with the thought that had Sakina Appa received the grooming my younger sisters got at the more sophisticated English medium schools, she might have not been riding roughshod and unintentionally rubbing people the wrong way. He knew it was a priority for me to give my younger brothers and sisters the best education at well known schools and colleges to equip them to meet the challenges of an advancing world they were growing up in. As I look back at those years when I was rising in the profession and setting my priorities, I feel a sense of achievement that I was able to live up to Akaji's expectations and give him the assurance that I could take over the mantle of family responsibilities from him as a parent brother when the weariness of age began to catch up with him. I don't think my elder brother Noor Sahib and my younger brothers really knew what it entailed for me to keep my professional values from slipping in the face of the challenge of generating a substantial income to meet the growing demands for household expenses, fees, clothes, pocket money, books, daily travel, and so on. I remember a producer coming to me in the late 1940s with a briefcase full of money and the script for a film he intended to make. I had not seen him before or heard of him. He narrated the story to me and I listened till he came to a point where the hero starts moving around the village astride a buffalo. I stopped him there and asked, "Why a buffalo?" He replied it was his idea of blending comedy into the hero's character. When I asked if I could make necessary changes in the script, he said that I could, but the buffalo had to be retained. I stealthily looked at the rickety briefcase on the table, which had the hard cash I needed so much at that point of time. It was shaking a little due to the breeze coming from the window and seemed to be leering at me silently. I then politely refused to spend more time listening to the story, and he could not believe that I was turning down such an impressive story and such a good amount of money. It was a learning experience for me because there were many more such filmmakers who wanted to cash in on the popularity I was enjoying. The spontaneity with which I refused the briefcase enhanced my self esteem and firmed up my resolve to work according to my terms. I could instinctively feel Agaji's loneliness and pain after Amma left us. He seemed to be living in a vacuum and he had lost the will to live. He passed away peacefully on 5th March 1950, leaving all of us in a void. I did not inform everybody I knew in the industry because I did not want synthetic sympathy and condolences from busy and materialistic people who did not know him and what he meant to me. Raj Kapoor, Naushad Mia, Mehboob Sahab, Ashok Bhaiya, Bimal Da, Nitin Da, S. Mukherjee Sahab, the family doctors, close relatives, and some of Agaji's friends were there to console me as I quietly fought the loss of yet another precious anchor of my life. As desired and wished by Agaji, his body was laid to rest near my mother's grave in Devlali. Thank you very much.